The human empire rules through fear, conquering or destroying every world in its path. But everything changes when Vixen, the rebel leader, finds the empire's greatest weapon, Henry, abandoned in a filthy cell. Now, he has returned from the shadows, and this time, it's the empire that will fall. Come witness the rebellion of the most dangerous man in the universe.
In a faraway future, people no longer looked up at the stars with awe. Instead, they claimed them with steel and fire. The human empire cast a dark shadow over the sky, making it shake. Once upon a time, there was a society with clear borders, ideals, and philosophies. Now there was only one goal: to dominate. They sent their ships across worlds like a storm with no name. They were as black as the void and as cruel as death itself. A silence fell over the planets. Cultures were wiped out. Tales from a very long time ago were destroyed by the sound of marching boots and plasma weapons. Treaties and talks did not happen. There is only submission or extinction. The people who made this harsh rule were not politicians or academics. These generals were born to fight, taught to be cruel, and devoted only to the throne that crowned death. Below them marched the super soldiers, who were genetically modified monsters that had no pity and were stronger than human flesh and bone. Each had a gun. Each is a word to the galaxy: you can't fight back, you have to give up. And among these creations, among the many monsters born from needles, scalpels, and broken vows, there was one name that kept coming up in whispers of fear, even in the empire itself: Henry. He was never meant to be the way he was. He was the result of a secret program that was hidden so deep in the empire's secret files that even the generals thought it was a myth. The transformation that changed him was either a mistake or a miracle, depending on who you asked. While other people got stronger, Henry changed into something completely different, better at adapting, faster, and stronger. In milliseconds, he could figure out hundreds of possible battle scenarios, see movement coming before it happened, and use his bare hands to break reinforced hulls. His mind was just as dangerous as his strength, though. It stayed human. And the Empire saw that as his biggest flaw. People called him a traitor when he ignored a direct order to kill off a whole peaceful species for tactical reasons. The sentence was harsh and quick. 10,000 troops were sent to take him down. Whole units caught fire. Cities fell apart when their own defenses were used against them. Still, they caught him, not because they were able to, but because Henry let them. Sick of the blood, sick of the lie. Not to them, but to the weight of his own guilt, he gave up. They were afraid of him too much to kill him straight up. Instead, they built a jail unlike any other. A cell made of steel, titanium, and diamond that was deep in a moon that didn't have a name and wasn't shown on any maps. Inside, Henry was always asleep thanks to an enforcer system that was set up to make even his thoughts dull. He sat there in silence for 8 years. Not dead, not living, just held back, or cut down to a specimen. There was no hope or faith in that darkness, and there was no reason. Hope was a memory, faith was a joke, until she got there. A rebel from the broken pieces of the New Dorian race. She looked like she was made of air, with skin kissed by stars, hair like morning mist, and eyes that could hold 1,000 storms. People from her group used to be artists, thinkers, and dreamers. They were ready to fight now that they had nothing to lose. She was put in the cell next to Henry's and looked at him like he was a wild animal, a god that is broken. A monster that was asleep and could crush bones like sand. He did nothing and was not aware of what was going on around him. But time shows us the truth. She looked into his eyes. It's not always open, but it's never really closed. Watched him pay attention when the guards talked, flinch when other inmates screamed, and move when they were told they would not be helped. He wasn't a machine. He wasn't gone. The man's guilt, memories, and the unbearable weight of who he was still lived inside the mountain of muscle and quiet. So, something came together without words. Not friendship, do not trust, something more real. A weak thread that holds two broken things together. After that, there was a revolt. A group of rebels from New Dorset got through the prison's outer walls. The only goal of the suicide mission was to get Vixen, who was the voice of their cause, out of there. There was chaos in the hallways. There were alarms. Metal doors broke like paper. During the chaos, Vixen made a demand that changed everything. Henry had to be set free. Of course they fought back. I thought she was crazy. She seemed to want a weapon, a monster to pet. She didn't want a fighter though. She wished to give someone another chance. They let him out of his cell. After that, there was a quiet that was worse than the war outside. Henry got up. His body had been slow because of the sedatives, but as soon as the inhibitors were taken away, his breathing changed. Better. He saw the mess, saw her, Susan. The rebels were trapped in the main passageway by Empire troops. It looked like they would never be able to get out, and Henry moved, not like a guy. It's not even like a weapon, but like the act of judging. He tore through the enemy lines like wind through dry leaves with two silver blades that were reminders of a life he never lived. Not to kill, but to keep safe. He wasn't destroying because he was told to for the first time. He picked a fight for no reason, because someone thought he wasn't just a monster. That day, the tale came back to life, but this time it wasn't as a ghost of imperial glory. Instead, it was a sign of something much more dangerous: hope. And speaking of hope, let me ask you something real quick. If you were in Vixen's place, seeing a living weapon like Henry rise from the ashes of his own guilt, would you trust him? Would you fight beside someone the entire galaxy fears? Drop your answer in the comments. I really want to know how you'd handle it. Also, if you're enjoying this journey, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps push the story out to more people who love this kind of dark sci-fi rebellion. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. There's a lot more coming. Henry turned into a defector with the power of a god and the heart of a man who no longer saw himself in the chains of his makers. This was something the human empire never planned for, never feared, and never even thought was possible. This time, he goes through the stars with Vixen and her rebels by his side, using the empire's tools against it. He's not a hero. He doesn't want to be. But every world they free and every chain they break makes the empire's fire stronger until it can't be put out. And in the quiet of their war rooms, the generals whisper a new fear, one that they can't shut down with bombs or fire. They had the worst dream come true. He's now free. Inside the room of the Imperial War Council, the air was thick, and there was a quiet tension that pulsed beneath the cold lights. Holographic maps shimmered across the table, showing galaxies on fire in blue and red and systems that went out with each loss. 10 of the most powerful generals in the human empire sat around the large oval desk. These were men and women who had been shaped by war and hardened by power. They looked at each other with eyes that were filled with thought and now worry. The holograms shaked when General Kale slammed his metal fist on the table. He has taken over another base. That's 3 just this week. They were too strong for our guys. He's not alone anymore, General Roth said in a tense voice. He is changing super soldiers, changing how they work, making our own tools work against us. But how? Barked another one. They have neurolocks, hormone suppressors, and code-level obedience routines. Not all of them are working, General Ilya said in a low voice, her eyes hidden by her hood. There are also people who have chosen to follow him, choosing to. There was a long pause. Then, heavy boots echoed through the room as a tall, broad-shouldered person stepped out of the viewing niche. Victory Grand Marshal, 63 years old, born in Russia. A relic from the old Earth Wars, if you can call it that, since the man still looked like he could beat a battle droid to the ground. His clothes were sharp and so were his eyes. He had short gray hair that was cropped close to his head and a body that looked more like a war machine than a tactician. But when he spoke, his voice was calm. Henry is wonderful. Everyone looked at him. Victor leaned forward and put both hands on the edge of the table. His fingers curled a little as he did this. I taught that kid. From the simulation to the fight, I saw him grow. I saw him make it through every test, dose, and pain. He was more than just a hero. He was strong. Now, we can't control him anymore. The word control was like smoke in the air. Victor continued with a thin smile on his lips, but Henry also gave us what he took from us. A new file, called Project Titan, lit up in the middle of the table when he tapped on a screen. We got DNA samples that are still viable. His DNA code is more complex than anything we've ever compiled. Stable even when things are going crazy. Fluid that is under stress. We can make it again. Make it better. But this time we're in charge of the variables. There was no sound. After that, doubt. Kale said, it's dangerous. We make more like him, and if even one of them turns, we're done. Victor kept his smile on. That's why we've come up with new safety measures. A neural chip is an implant that goes deep into the spine and is directly linked to the brain's core. No ideas that aren't in line with the rules. With improved hormone suppressors, these titans will not be able to think. They will do what you say. Reluctantly, nods came next. The generals gave up one by one. That was the start of Project Titan. But it wasn't easy to be successful. Every person who took part in the process, trained soldiers, amateurs, and even criminals who were desperate for a second chance, was absorbed by it. The improvements didn't work on their bodies. Some people screamed so hard that their lungs gave out. Some people stopped breathing altogether. Weeks went by. Dozens of people died. The lab smelled like failure and burned meat, until he came along. Subject 23A, a man, 19 years old. Aiden is his name. His skin looked like steel when he got out of the fluid tank. Empty eyes that are aware. Taking a moment to observe the experts present, He then turned to punch the 3-foot-thick wall of the underground room. The wall went off. Victor looked on with a frosty grin. He said in a whisper, "Beautiful. Let us see what takes place when he meets his big brother." Hugh stood by the viewport of a rebel stronghold on the moon Varial, which was covered in forests and far from the cold halls of Imperial desire. Vixen sat behind him with her legs crossed and watched the light dance across his back. He hadn't talked in a while, and when he did, his voice was weak. "Not all people are like them." She cocked her head. "Back on Earth, we had dictators and armies that killed people who spoke out against them. Some people did fight back, though, who wished for freedom. Those parts of our history were erased by the Empire." Vixen's eyes got more intense. "Then why do you still look so far away, Henry? Why does it look like you're still sad?" He turned around. He looked into her eyes, which were tired and stormy. "When I didn't do what they said and said no to the slaughter, they sent 10,000 people after me. Great troops. Friends. Friends. We fought for days. Cities fell apart. When the fire finally went out, I looked around and saw that innocent people had also died. Whole families. Because of me. That day I wasn't the star. I was the tremor." She stood up and put a soft hand on his arm. "You didn't do that. The Empire was to blame for that. That person wasn't killed by you. It was the system. We'll make sure that system burns if you fight with us." He gave a slow nod. "Let me help, but not with more blood that isn't needed. To get to the forces, I need to get them to agree. A lot of them don't even know they're being watched. The chemicals, they keep doubts at bay. We can save them though if we can break that habit and get them to agree." "What if they don't listen?" she asked. Henry's eyes got red. "Then we'll stop them. But let's try first." She agreed and her eyes were fixed on his. "Let's try." After that, there was a war like no other. Henry and Vixen were in charge of raids not only on enemy bases but also on their minds. They caught super fighters by being sneaky and planning ahead. Some people fought. Others were unsure. Some of them cried when they were taken to guerrilla labs and freed of their hormone chains. Some people screamed, but a lot of people joined the cause. They made a choice for the first time. They started freeing whole worlds, planets that had been quiet before but were now raging with defiance. Each task made the Empire's hold less tight. For every man who was freed, 10 more questioned what they were told. Victor was ready in the middle of the Empire, though. Aiden stood in silence with his eyes closed and was linked to a neural interface in a room that was sealed off below the Imperial Citadel. His hands left marks on the walls around him. His body hummed with strength, not anger, not thought, reason. Victor stood behind the glass and watched with his arms crossed. He didn't feel scared, but hungry. He told the technician, "Go ahead, start the battle simulation all over again." It looked like a virtual battlefield went through the room. A huge number of targets showed up. They were all wiped out in less than 4 seconds. The king smiled. "Henry, you left a legacy, but now I've made the future." Through the dome above the training grounds, the sun on that faraway rebel planet sparkled soft. Under its soft light, Henry and Vixen moved at the same speed, like two ghosts playing well together. As they fought barefoot on the rough courtyard floor, they used strikes, blocks, and counters. They were training not with the mechanical accuracy of machines, but with instinct, movement, and something deeper. A beat that souls shared that hadn't quite figured out what everyone else did. Their moves were no longer just practice, they were talking. Eye to eye, breath to breath. His blows were strong but not too hard. Vixen's counters were strong, but she trusted them. Not only did fighting bring them together, but belief did too. Every spin, lock, and grapple spoke of this. New Dorian rebels and former human super soldiers stood on the edges with their arms crossed and looked at each other with knowing looks and smirks. One rebel fighter shook his head and said, "They don't even know. It's no longer just training." One who used to be a great soldier laughed softly. "He trained like that with just one other person." "Victor, that's crazy, huh?" added someone else. "Two kinds, the two fighters. They moved together. Even though there were whispers, humans and Nidorians still said sorry to each other. People shook hands and laughed with each other. People who used to be enemies sat next to each other, their pasts hidden by the hate of the Empire. It almost felt like peace, right up until the light went out. To begin with, it was quiet. Something soft went out, like clouds were coming in, but there were no clouds. After that, there was quiet. The birds stopped, the sound of machinery stopped, and the sun went away totally, leaving behind shadows that covered the sky. They looked up and saw them. Huge warships, black steel monsters, hung over the rebel station like bad signs. A fleet that was so big it covered the whole sky. It was scary to think about death because 20,000 super soldiers were ready and loaded. Sirens went off, yelled orders. The rebels ran away with their guns drawn. But there wasn't any fear, just decide. The Vixen was tall on the command balcony and looked out over her troops. which included New Dorian elites, freed super soldiers, and Henry, who was the strongest of them all. "This is it," she yelled. "They think they're here to kill us. We are no longer alone though. We have our rights and our people. And him." She looked at Henry with bright eyes. "This is a sure win." Henry, on the other hand, did not share her look. He wrinkled his face. He dropped his stance. His eyes were fixed on the horizon, on the ships coming in, and on someone or something he could feel but not see. He said in a low voice, "This isn't right. Victor wouldn't send this many troops if he wasn't sure they would win." There was no attack. The ships came ashore in eerie silence. Super soldiers came out of their huge hulls, but not in an attack order. Instead, they came out in columns of discipline. They stood in a straight line, making a wide passage of metal and flesh. In the middle of that hallway, there was a small path that had not been used. He came from that road. A young guy who was alone, strolling calmly, feeling sure, not rushed. Henry moved forward and put up his hand to stop the rebels from doing anything. He said, "I'll take care of this." He watched the young person's every move as he got closer, building, stepping. Every step had power. However, stay calm, not anger. Do not be afraid, just reason. They were right next to each other. Henry began to talk. "What is this?" The young man didn't say anything. He reached into a belt bag and took out something that looked like a tablet. A soft glow, a flash. An image then showed up. Winter, sitting in a fancy chair. A peaceful beach was behind him. It was the same world that Henry had refused to destroy before. His name was Victor and he smiled. "The views from here are unbelievable, very beautiful. These days I've been enjoying life. Outside air, cool drinks, and lovely people. It's funny, isn't it? The people you didn't punish are now making me drinks." He clenched his teeth. "What do you need?" Winter put up a hand. Wait, allow me to finish. "I understand that you're mad. I'm sorry I let you down, but you also let me down. I thought of you as a kid. Not really, more like a grandson. My best work of art, my will." In the end, the smile turned colder, but the legacy has to go on. To the young guy next to Henry, he said, "This is Aiden. He makes me think of you. Strong, concentrated, correct, but better. We made the method better. We fixed what was wrong. And now we have our God." There were gasps among the rebels. Not even the super guards could move. Victor's tone changed, becoming more serious. "Okay, here it is. You go after Aiden, by yourself. He's yours if you win, as well as the 20,000 super troops who are following him. They'll follow you." Henry's eyes got narrow. "What if I lose?" Victor's smile got bigger. "Everyone on that field is killed." Henry spoke up and said, "No, that's not." Victor spoke up and said, "That's the deal. And you know it too. If you say no, they'll strike now. Aiden and 20,000 men can't be stopped. Fight." Henry took a deep breath in, looked at his friends. Vicky looked at him. He said, "Yes, I agree." The fight started in an instant. Aiden was the first to move and he hit Henry square in the ribs very quickly. Henry felt a lot of pain in his chest. Painful. It was the first time since he changed that he felt it. Aiden moved faster than he thought. Henry changed though. He fought back. Attacks turned into blocks. Attacks turned into a beat. In a ballet of violence, the two giants crashed into each other, with each blow resounding like thunder. The trees shook. Rocks broke apart. The pressure of their movements made the air shake. Aiden was strong, terrible, but Henry had been there before. He was 29 years old and had been fighting for years, so his senses were very good. And little by little, he started to take charge. He ducked under a swing, spun, and locked Aiden's arms. He put one under Aiden's foot and tied the other behind his back. Henry sighed and said, "It's over. I win." Vixen smiled with happiness. The rebels cheered. Aiden then smiled. He whispered, "They made me better. Gave me something you didn't have before." Like an electric eel, electricity exploded from Aiden's body and sped through Henry's arms, making his muscles lock and his vision blur. Henry slipped and fell. Aiden stood up, his body now glowing with lightning. "You're stronger, but I've changed." He raised his hand and hit Henry in the chest with all of his strength. The ground was broken. Dust flew into the sky. Henry wasn't moving. Vixen yelled his name, but a fighter grabbed her and pulled her off the battlefield. Aiden spoke to the super troops and told them what to do. Get rid of them all. There was chaos, screams, fireworks, steel against skin. People were killed in what was not a fight. Even though the rebels fought hard, they were defeated. Vixen was knocked out by another soldier, who then took her to a rebel ship. 30 got away. That was all. Just 30. Henry then just laid there. Nothing. Not breathing. No life. When the Imperial troops got back to Earth, there was a lot of excitement. Medals, thanks, parades of honor. Vic and Aiden ate dinner outside in Russia at a diner with glass walls on top of a skyscraper. Victor asked between bites of grilled lamb, "Tell me, how was it?" Aiden smiled. "Hard. He almost got me. He is, otherwise. Victor gave a nod. The best. But now you are. They held up cups, served in quiet. A hand moved far away, on a trashed battlefield under strange skies where the air still shook from the electricity. The fingers moved. Henry woke up. The smoke from the damage turned the sky an orange color that showed no life. It was eerily quiet on the battlefield. Ashes fell like snow over broken weapons, armor, and the dead bodies of soldiers, rebels, and freedom fighters. One of their hands moved, and then fingers. Then Henry's eyes opened with a short gasp. For a moment, he lay still as if he wasn't sure if he was awake or in a bad dream. The last thing he remembered was being in unbearable pain that shut down everything in his body. His heart had stopped. His consciousness went away. The void takes him. Till he came back. He got down on his knees, shaking and confused. The ground was very hot. The quiet around him sounded like thunder. He slowly turned, his mind still adjusting to the present moment. He then saw them. The harmed, his friends. Warriors from Neuter were lying next to rebels from Earth and freed super soldiers. People who fought with him, both men and women, who had faith in him. Now nothing but quiet. He held his breath. He stumbled forward, stepping over war rubble as he looked at everyone. He did not talk, not called out. He just looked around. He couldn't take his tongue off of a name. Then there was no one. The vixen wasn't there. Her body wasn't anywhere among the dead. Even though it was terrible to feel better after losing someone so dear, he let out a slow, broken sigh of thanks. The girl may have gotten away, but the truth set in. He shouldn't have been able to get away. He thought back to the hit, the lightning, the darkness. No one should have to go through what he did, unless that wasn't the most he could be. He put his hand on his chest. His heart was beating faster than before. He had a smart mind. His body was pretty much untouched. It clicked into place. He was back, not by some chance, not by chance, but on purpose. A part of his mutation that is inactive, maybe. One last safety measure. A way for his cells to revive themselves that was programmed into them. As long as his body stayed whole, it would heal, grow back, or repeat. He just looked up at the sky. Then he spoke in a low but firm voice. I'm going to Earth. He quickly turned around and ran toward the rebel hangar that was hidden below the ground. It wasn't found by the enemy. There was only one stealth ship left inside. He set up the controls and started a secure line of communication at the same time. This is Henry. I'm alive. I'm going to Earth. I'm finishing this, he told the rebels, his eyes shining with determination. When the ship roared up, it cut through clouds, burned through the air and through the void. The hunt had begun. On a broken-down escape cruiser that was drifting far from the fight, sadness hung heavy. 30 people were still alive. Their scars were not just skin-deep. Vicky sat by herself in a quiet area. She hunched her shoulders. Her silver hair got knotted up. She didn't try to hide the tears that were running down her face. Eric, one of the few super troops who had been freed, stood nearby and watched her with quiet sympathy. He moved slowly, being careful not to get in the way. He said in a soft voice, "He saved all of us." She didn't look around. "I was reckless. I should have stood with him. I left him to carry too much alone. I gave him no choice." "You gave him hope," Eric answered. "That's more than any of us ever had. He was the only one who could fight that battle. We all knew it," she whispered. "I thought I knew him." Her voice broke, but I didn't understand how far he was willing to go. The pilot's voice came over the ship's comm system before Eric could answer. "Commander, you need to see this. We just received a signal from the rebel hangar on the last planet. It's from Henry." A lot of people rushed to the main show. The message came on. Henry's face showed up, alive, set on it. The shock turned into awe. Vixen let out a gasp and put her hands over her mouth. Then her face changed again. It showed worry in a sharp, immediate way. "He was going to Earth, by yourself." She took a step back and her voice was barely audible. "That's madness. He can't take on Earth's entire command structure by himself." He shook his head. "Then we follow him. He's back. And this time we make it count." She wasn't sure. "I'd be risking what's left of our people, our survivors, him." Eric took her hand with care. "That's what we fight for. That's why he came back. And if we survive this, maybe you finally tell him how you feel. Because, let's be honest, it's getting awkward." She was shocked and her face turned red. First she said, "Eric?" and then she laughed softly through tears. "You're such an idiot." "Yeah, but I'm right." She wiped her eyes. She put her shoulders back. "Send the call." Rebel channels lit up across all devices. Answers came from New Dorian ships. When super troops were freed, they armed themselves. A war party gathered and set sail for Earth. Henry's ship tore through the edge of the solar system at the same time. The automated defense grid of Earth was turned on, which includes rocket silos, orbital cannons, and drone fleets. No one lived. Henry killed all of them. He cut through police satellites, got around security measures, and broke into 3 orbital bases without stopping. It was already too late when Earth's command center found out what was going on. There is chaos in the command room. General Ruggin yelled, "He shouldn't be alive." His voice broke with fear. General Kale yelled and threw a data pad across the room, "He shouldn't even be possible." Victor stood there with his arms crossed and looked at the shows. Even though his jaw was clenched, those cold, hard eyes showed something else. He was angry and turned on him. "You said everything was under control. You created him, Victor. You made a monster and now he's become a god." Victor wasn't moving. He quickly crossed the room after that. Metal sparkled. Kale's throat was opened with a clean, quick blow. She fell to the ground and started grunting. "Not alive. Keep quiet." The sound of her body hitting the floor was the only thing that stayed. Victor cleaned his blade in a relaxed way. She looked around the room and asked, "Anyone else want to question my creation?" The other generals took a step back. The stress was like a wire about to break. Victor put his gun away and said, "Didn't think so. Go meet him. Join Aiden. Your generals, super soldiers. Predict where he'll land and hold the line." A woman captain stepped forward, her eyes wide. "And you?" Victor smiled half-heartedly. "I'm going for a little walk in the lab." After he left, no one spoke, but the smell of blood held on. The desert of Sahara. There was a golden sea of sand that went on forever. Today, though, it wasn't empty at all. The army came marching across the dunes in a wall of black-armored super troops. Aiden up front. He was so excited that his eyes hurt. The other Imperial generals stood behind him. Arm's length, made better. Get ready. On the other end, one person came up to them. "You." The heat made his shape shimmer. He held 2 silver knives that sparkled in his hands. Aiden raised his hands, which now had 2 black blades made of steel, titanium, and diamond. "This time," he said, "there won't be a body to bring back." Henry did not speak. His eyes didn't move. The sky broke open above them. Rebel ships came down. A lot of carriers. A lot of fights. People from New Dora and super soldiers filled the air with anger. The last war had started. Victor stood in front of a huge black box deep below the surface of Earth. He was in the clean, cold Imperial Titan lab. Dr. Patrick begged, "Sir, please? You're already enhanced. Titanification might destabilize your mind, your body. It could kill you." Victor spoke in a cold voice. "If it doesn't kill me, I'll become what Henry never could." He grabbed the doctor by the throat. "Start the process." Without wanting to, the robots roared to life. Needles cut through the skin. His blood was filled with chemicals. His DNA became damaged and then fixed itself. It hurt like fire. "But Victor," I laughed with their teeth clenched. "Let's see what kind of god I become." And so it starts. God was born again. There is one God, and the stars holding their breath. This was just a taste of what happens when science goes too far. In the next video, a cloning experiment went wrong, but no one had the courage to destroy the result. You need to see this before they take it down.